Or welcome back to the weekly Akasha podcast. I can see in channel analytics that people are actually watching, so that's exciting. Um, this is another episode of the Origin series where I am talking to various people that are friends of mine that I know about their journeys and what they're up to and what's going on in their lives and whatever else comes up. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I don't have a scripted opening or really a plan, which doesn't mean that I'm unprepared. It just means that I trust that whatever comes through is what needs to come through. And certainly, Spirit has been sending me messages this morning about questions to ask my friend Andrea here. So we'll get into it and we'll see what happens. So, as with several of the other guests that I've had on so far, I met Andrea through the Akashic Records classes with Brenda Pell.
Yes.
And in those classes, we get air quotes randomly assigned practice partners. And by randomly assigned, I mean Spirit assigns them, and then we just trust that it all works out okay. And I can say that having gone through 3 classes with 4 to 5 practice partners apiece, plus some bonus partners on top of it, which gets us somewhere into like the 15 to 20 range. Every single one of them was exactly what I needed at that time. And for almost all of them, there's still people that I talk to on anywhere from a near daily basis to a frequently basis. So, Andrea, happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So I do have one question that I wanted to ask you to begin with, but I want to start with, please talk to me about your Zoom background because I am fascinated by this thing for some reason.
My Zoom background, I love it also. And obviously it is done with help of AI, which is my one of my best friends lately. So yeah, it was generated about half year ago. Yeah. In summer. Okay, I'll take a step back. Last year.
And so so we're recording this in February 9th of 2025.
Yes.
So by last year, do you mean 2024 or are we going back?
2024.
Okay.
2024. And
It's that time of the year where we have to clarify what exactly last year meant. So
exactly. I can't get to that without starting talking about 2024, which was it was difficult. It was difficult. But at the same time, it was amazing in that how it was difficult and what it meant for me. And what it meant for me was that whole year, if I should use just one word for 2024, it would be surrender. Like complete surrender to what comes to me. And when we talk about what comes to me, it is from the spirit, universe, divine guides, whatever words whoever wants to use. I use word God most often. Sometimes I use spirit, sometimes I talk about divine guidance, but for me, it's all the same essence, it's all the same energy. And last year, they guided me through many different things which I never did before. Like never ever, and I never even thought about doing them. And one of these things they brought to me, and it was like, you're doing it and you're doing it now, was to do the online masterclasses on YouTube. And I'm not a YouTuber. I didn't use YouTube before. And it's like, okay, every Saturday during the summer, you are going to do a masterclass. And I was like, okay, and what should I talk about? And then that's when they gave me this glow guide. And the glow guide stands, it's a framework, it's a tool to set the goals. And all the coaches out there or leaders who went through any leadership training, they know the grow model for setting goals. Yes, goal, reality, opportunity, or options, and way forward. And the glow guide is actually very similar thing. They just showed me, and we talked about it in different ways many times before, but the R in the grow model, reality. What is reality? Like, what is it? So that's the way.
Great question. What is reality?
You know, so that's why they gave me L, love, instead.
Mm.
And I started to work with it, to play with it. I did this whole online free series about the glow guide, bringing the love into any kind of setting goals, any kind of conversations. We did difficult conversation masterclass, for example, and everything was around how can we bring more love into whatever topic we were talking about. And I just fall in love with this framework. So it became now my main thing. I'm talking about how to bring more love into everything, into leadership, into business, into decision making, into everyday life, into drinking my tea, you know. So
I'm gonna make the worst pun ever and say that I love that.
and that's when I was looking for some visuals, because obviously I was discussing this also with the AI. And I was asking what would be the best possible visual for this framework, and this is what the AI gave me, and I just love it and use it since. So here's
Amazing.
your answer.
Which AI program did you use?
This is ChatGPT,
Okay,
DALI.
fascinating. Dali, okay.
Well, I don't go directly to DALI. I'm just talking to
Yeah, yeah.
ChatGPT, and I ask in the conversation, and this is what it gives me.
Yeah. I find that the images that it generates when you are like when you do exactly what you said, which is you're already like asking it about stuff and essentially providing it more context. And then when you're like, hey, give me an image that uh reflects what we're talking about or that matches or whatever adjective you want to use, it actually does a fairly decent job.
Yeah.
As long as you don't try to include like things like this where it's like kind of like a landscapey thing, it is like incredibly good at. It gets real wonky if you try to do anything with like humans or robots or animals or anything. You get some you get some really weird stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really good fun.
Okay. So I want to go backwards a little bit before we come back to that. And we probably already talked about this and I just don't remember, which is fine. But how did you come across the Akashic Records?
How did I converse? Well, um, I think it's similar to a lot of us, to you as well, that we are on the journey for quite some time already. And over the years, for me, I heard about Akasha and Akashic Records many times, but it was just like, maybe it's not for me. until suddenly it became my thing. Suddenly someone mentioned it somewhere. I don't even remember who and when and where. And I was like, maybe it's time to have a look. And I did the usual thing. I went to Google, and the first name which came was Brandy Pell. And I was
Oh,
like, never heard about this person ever before. I don't know how it happened. And I checked her website, and I was like, this feels good. We will see.
now
I'm not sure.
was this before COVID or after COVID?
This was during COVID.
Okay.
This was
Oh,
during,
so you and I must have found her like right about the same time then.
yeah. And then I was like, maybe I'm not doing it, and maybe if it would be in the autumn, that that would be good. And I did subscribe for her newsletter, and then one day email came, I'm opening Akashic Records training 1 in September. I was like, okay. Be aware of what you wish for, because it just came exactly as I wished for. So I jumped in. We've met, and it opened many different things for me. There
Man,
were,
so let's see. Your I'm trying to remember. Those classes were pretty early during the day, so that must have been pretty nighttime for you.
yeah. Yeah. Didn't like that thing.
Because it's 9:30 in the morning for me, and it's what in the afternoon for you?
4:28 in the afternoon. Yeah.
So 7 hours? Oh yeah.
7 hours. Yeah.
See, part of me thinks that's almost better because I'm curious to hear your experience, but especially for the level 1 class, I'm pretty certain after every single class, I just slept for like 2 hours anyways.
Yeah. um, Sometimes I just listen to replay. I couldn't
Yeah.
stay awake for the live class. I just couldn't. So yeah, the mainly the first training, the first level was kind of like uh, maybe replay. I'm not staying awake for that, but yeah, uh, it was good. It was definitely really nice experience. I was on my journey for quite some time at the moment when I entered this realm. So there were moments where I was like, I know all of this. But very quickly I realized that actually I want to pay full attention, and I want to do all the exercises and all the activities. And one thing which you also mentioned at the beginning is that it didn't bring only the expansion in very in every aspect of my life, but also beautiful people came into my life through that training, like you, like some other people, and as you said, with some of them I'm in nearly daily contact still. With some it's maybe weekly, monthly, or longer, but the connection is still there no matter what. and that's beautiful.
I love it. So was there a so you kind of talked about you'd already been on this journey for a while and you were kind of at the beginning like, oh yeah, whatever, because she does I didn't think about this at the time, but it's been 3.5 years now since then, which is like actual insanity to think about. But she did again, because her stuff, it's not like she's just YOLOing it. She has some very strong guidance on her side about how to do these things. It did seem like a kind of like started off slow, air quotes slow, and then like ramped up towards the end. But do you remember a part or a time when you were like, oh, this is different, or this is definitely for me, or like this really resonates? Was there like an aha kind of moment for you?
Um, that is a good question. Uh, I love learning new things. That's my thing for my whole life. And definitely there were new ways of looking at things, new practices which I didn't knew. Um, the aha moment was because I always wanted to find a way how to connect business, career, work with spirituality in some way. And when we got to the point where Bryn started to talk about how we can actually connect it together, that was like, okay, I've got something what I was looking for. But at the same time, from the very beginning, it was um, her specific way how she works with all of these things, with all of the energies, with the healings, with emotions, with thoughts, with ancestors, with all of the things we went through during all the levels of the program. It was just fascinating for me to witness that and experience it, and um, that's why I said that. Yes, I was on the journey for some time, but at the same time, to open to this experience fully and receive um, her wisdom and energy and what she brings to all of us through her programs was amazing. And it there were moments when I was in tears and it was like, oh my God, thank you for this. So yeah, sometimes it was difficult. Sometimes obviously my beautiful brain was resisting and and just not wanting to go there. But yeah, I'm really grateful for that experience and everything it brought.
Do you remember what your uh first experience was with your record keeper or keepers? Mine's singular, but maybe you have more than one.
I have
I can share my story because um so at a high level, the way Bren teaches it, and this did not happen in the first class. This was like rolled out over a period of classes, but you get an attunement, and then you get uh like a further, I'll just again use the word like attunement to like a short version of a prayer.
yes.
When you complete the class, you get like the longer version of the prayer. And that's the prayer is specific to like her teachings and her lineage as she describes it. Um, and you start working with this, and it's the intention of um, it is just to like solidify and strengthen the connection to your own Akashic records. You're always connected to your Akashic records anyways. As I like to say, anytime you've had like a thought that comes out of nowhere or an idea to solve a problem that came out of nowhere, and those kinds of things, you're already accessing things that are outside of you. It just feels like if you've had when you've had those, you know they feel a little bit different than when you're sitting thinking about how to do something. So all that being said, and I'm always up early, so it's always like dark, and so I was like practicing, and I think for the first handful of times, right, I could feel an energy shift, but there was kind of like nothing beyond that, right? And then, um, and I can see him right now, but like when I finally got like used to the energy, basically my record keeper presented himself as like an old like grandpa librarian looking dude. It's like wrinkly face, like glasses. It's got like white hair and kind of like a bald head and all of that. So if you remember, you know, I would be curious what your kind of like first experience was like.
Uh,
And if you don't want to
thank
share, that's also fine.
No, no, it's okay. And I just wanted to say thank you for this story of how you experienced it. Mine was a little bit different because as I said, I was on that journey already for quite some time, and I work with very I worked for several years with a spiritual teacher who is very, very, very high energetically. He's a very beautiful spirit here on the earth. So I had loads of different experiences with meeting my guides in different ways and different dimensions, different places. But as COVID came, the meetings, the teachings, everything stopped, and actually we all got the message that God asked him to stop with all of these sessions and teachings and classes we had for several years, and suddenly there was just vacant, just empty space.
Mm.
And then COVID and all the pressure and fear and everything started to pull me down, because even though I was connected already to very high dimensions and energies, I let everything what was happening with during pandemic, I let it to really pull me down quite a bit. And then Brain and her training and Akashic Records came to my world, to my life, and suddenly she gave me a different way how to connect back to what I thought I lost.
Mm.
You know, so for me it was like coming back home in a different way. And I have a group of guides I worked with, and there are a few of them who are permanent. They are always there, and then there are some guides who come and go as they think they need or want. So when I opened my records for the first time with the full prayer, it was very emotional, and it was on their part, it was a big party there. So it was really beautiful for me. Yeah.
Very cool. So I guess we're going to keep going backwards. So you keep mentioning that you'd been on the path for a while. So I'm curious to know when and what your first experience was of, let's just call it the other side, or things outside the physical reality that we see with our eyes. Yeah, right? Because some people are like, oh, like I talked to Jessa Lynn, who was in our Akashic Records class, and she was like, I touched a tree when I was 4 years old and I saw everything the tree had ever seen. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is your version of that, I guess, is what I'm asking. Or
Um,
like the first time you really remember that, like, oh, this is very different and there's something here.
I have it in two parts. As a small child, I did see and talk to angels and um, different entities. I didn't have any word for it. I knew angels and I knew um, um, witches.
Okay.
And I remember one specific witch, which was very scary. And she came in the evenings, in the nights when I was just a toddler, and I was always screaming because I wanted her to go. And my parents did what they thought is the best for me, and they find a way how to just let me believe that nothing like that exists, and I don't see anything, and there is nothing, and they closed that door for me for majority of my childhood and uh, being young adult. I always had the knowing. We now know that it's called claircognizance.
Mm.
At that time, I had no idea what it is. And it was also like, well, if you don't know how you know it or where do you know, learn that information, then don't even talk about it. That's not valuable information. So again, I stopped talking about what I know. And then um, loads of stuff happened in my life. But back in 2000, I worked with a girl who was my assistant at that time, and she was very spiritual and very interested in everything from the other world. And she was like, I think you need to read this book. And she brought me Celestine Prophecies. I don't know if you know that book, but
Mm.
it was the first real something I had in my hands where they talk about everything is energy, about the importance of our thoughts and power of our thoughts and intentions. And it was like, oh, wow.
You said
So,
this was in 2000,
yeah, it was year 2000.
and how old were you then?
I have no idea. That's the numbers and math. Okay, you need to do the math. I was born in 1968, so
Okay, so you're 13 years older than me, which would put you at 57, which 20, we'll just call it 25 minus 57 is 22, 25.
I need to be I no, I think it was
Hold on. I'm gonna get a
More.
calculator.
Yeah. Okay.
2000 minus 19. What'd you say?
68.
32.
32. Yeah, that's it.
I was only off by a decade.
32. So yeah. And from that moment, I just started to read everything what I can get to. I started to take millions of different classes about everything: tarot
Mhm.
cards, oracle cards, numerology, astrology, I don't know, automatic drawing, just everything.
Yep,
um,
I feel all of that for sure. Are you a Gemini?
no, I'm Capricorn.
Okay. All right, sorry,
So
continue.
yeah, so I became Reiki master. I just did everything what I can get to. And yeah, so that's I guess that's the answer to your question.
Um, so you talked about at the beginning of COVID, um, about how like basically the low vibrations you I'm paraphrasing, but let them get to you and brought you down. Um, I'll share an experience quick. And again, at the time of this experience I'm about to share with you, I had been on a path of very strong, like, we'll just throw it in the category of like personal development, right? I had run my body into the ground. I had a couple of times, um, and was many, many years down the road of basically like changing everything. Um, but I'd never, when all the COVID stuff started happening, I was looking at it and I was just like, seems like this is getting blown way out of proportion.
Hmm.
And surely people are smart enough to realize that, uh, at least in the United States, like every year there's an air quotes flu season. And like once
Yes.
kids go back to school, like literally, if you have a kid, you're literally sick for like 3 months and all this stuff. And like this is the time of year, like in the winter, people like get sick. This is like a normal thing. And I kept holding on to that thought. And then I forget what day in March it was that like the government shut down and they closed all the airports and did all that.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like March 15th or 17th, something like that. Anyways, it was like a Wednesday, I think. And I remember being at the grocery store on the Sunday before. Um, because I always go to the grocery store on Sundays and just get food for the week. And my plan was like, hey, if things get crazy, like in case things get crazy, like I'm gonna pick up a couple of extra things, but it's just like my wife and I, and at the time our two dogs, so it's not like we had kids to feed and like that kind of stuff. And I walked into the grocery store and I remember thinking, what in the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because nobody was talking to each other. Everybody was looking side-eyed at each other. There was probably some people wearing masks, but that wasn't really a thing yet, especially in Nebraska, being like such a like smally, less populated state, compared to a lot of places, even in Omaha where I live, which is like the biggest city. And I remember standing in the checkout line and looking at the things people had in their carts. And it was toilet paper and cleaning supplies and all kinds of other stuff. and then there was like some food items sprinkled in. And I remember looking at that and just looking around at everybody else and being like, oh man, we're fucked. Like they are so afraid.
Yes.
They are so afraid that they're more concerned about wiping their own ass than feeding themselves. And I went back out to my car and I remember just feeling like I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
Um, and I had, it's clear to me now that my whole life I've been, like I always described it as I have a good feel for people. Like I can pretty much know right away if you're
Yes.
somebody that I want to be around or not. Like you don't really need to do a lot or say a lot. And I've been that way. And I've also, they call it introverted, but I think for me, mostly I have been intuitively extremely protective of my own energy field like my whole life.
Yeah.
Um, so all that being said, so I know like what that one experience was like for me and like what I felt like. So if you want to talk more about kind of like how it got for you and like what that felt like, I would be very curious to know because you're up, you're half a world away from where I was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, it was very similar for me in many ways, and different in a way that I'm in Czech Republic, as you know, and Czech Republic at that time was one of the very first countries to close borders.
mm,
So I'll give you also an example. On the very first day, and it was like 6th of March or something, really at the very beginning. I have a forest. I love to go for a walk just outside windows. And at that time, my daily routine was at 11 o'clock. I just went to forest for my walk, just to get fresh air. And so I'm walking in my forest, happy as I can be. Sun is shining, beautiful day, and suddenly some old lady starts to shout at me, screaming, "You are not wearing the face mask! What are you doing? You want to kill us all!" I was like, "What's happening? What is she talking about?" There was no one in the forest, just her and me on the quite a big path in the forest. No one else. So what are you talking about? Why should I wear face mask? I don't even have anything like that. Why should? How can you be so unconsiderate of everyone? Can you please explain me what's going on? What you are talking about? The whole country is closed. There is this and we are all going to die. What are you talking about? Don't you listen to your radio? No, I'm sorry, I do not listen to the radio. So the lady was just, yeah. So this was my first experience with COVID. I didn't even know that the country is closed, that there are some rules suddenly which we all have to go by. It was, and from there it just went downhill. The experiences you talk about in the shops, it was just awful in here, because as the country was one of the very first to close all the borders, obviously it created a huge fear and tension, because no one else was worldwide doing it yet. Just very few information was there, and we already had very strict rules what we can and what we can't do, and how big different how big space should be between people and all of these things. So yeah, that was my first experience with COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So once that you had those first couple of interactions and now you're stuck at home and all that other stuff, did you just kind of spiral downward, I guess, and get
um
sucked into it? Or was it just, man, I'm at home and I've lost all my practices and all my people and everything else that all kind of snowballed together?
it was a combination of everything, because um I never got vaccinated. And in Czech Republic, it was a really big no-no. So uh, actually, we had moments when it was like, you can't go on public transport, you can't go out, you can't go to shop, you can't go da da da, because I was not vaccinated. So there was this and there were huge fines if they caught you that you are somewhere where you shouldn't be because you are not vaccinated. So it was quite crazy, and it created um, quite a high level of stress and fear, to be honest. But at the same time, me being me, I was like, okay, I made my decisions and I was okay with them. I knew I'm going to be okay. I knew I'm going to be healthy. I knew I'm going to get through it. I was not happy because um, the borders were closed just one day before my partner was flying back home from England, and he got stuck in England for
Oof.
so, so that was not really easy. Um, but so there were obviously all the trainings programs which were planned were cancelled. People were so quite a big loss in business as well. But at the same time, as I said, I love to learn. So I was like, okay, I'm at home. How can I use this time? And I started to learn more and more and more things which I was interested in, mainly in the realm of online business marketing, everything about
Mm.
online, because that was quite new thing in that way, as we started to do everything online since then. So I spend my days and months by learning new skills and meeting new beautiful people who also became my friends. So
Mm.
I can't say that it was a bad time for me because of these experiences, but at the same time, it was a really horrible time.
It's probably going to start pretty soon, given that we're coming up on 5 years here in like a month. But um, I guess the word that I'm hearing is retrospective. But like the stories that people are going to do and the histories that are going to be written about the how just, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Let's just say 5 billion people literally had their everything that they thought they knew about their lives
Yeah.
change in 6 months to a year. And anybody who's alive right now that's anywhere close to either one of our ages all live through like a singular experience.
Yes.
And I've often thought that like if we could actually see or measure like the amount of like energy involved in that, assuming that we could even begin to comprehend what we were looking at, right? Whether it's measurements or whatever, because it gets to a point where it's like $1 million. It's like, okay, like I can I feel like $1 million. I have a good grasp of what $1 million is.
Mm.
And then it's like $1 billion, and it's like, well, not really. And then you start talking about trillions of dollars, and it's like you just have no frame of. It's like, cool, $1 trillion, great.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is $1 trillion? Um. Anyway, so that was just a side tangent. Because like my story, like I know personally, I spent the entire last 6 months of 2019, in most of it, for sure, the first 3 months, if not the first 6 months of 2020, just feeling like my entire body was on fire and wondering if I was like dying. Like I know what that felt like. And now I understand like energetically, and I have some frame of reference for like what was happening there. But it's not like I could see everything in my field that was like changing and moving and releasing and like activating. And it's like, man, when you think about that stuff was happening on a planetary scale,
Yeah.
I mean, you literally can't even like wrap your brain around it. Um, and to think that when you think about the scope of something like that, regardless of what your individual experience was, and I think we all experienced very, very like highs and very, very lows throughout
Yeah.
the whole thing, that it was not part of some divine plan. Um, Especially when I can look back now, 4 years later, 5 years later, and look at everything that's transpired sitting there, including the fact that you and I are recording a podcast on a Sunday morning / Sunday afternoon talking about all this stuff. So I don't know if you have anything you want to follow up to that. Otherwise, I can continue on with my next question.
I think that from the historic point of view, um, it was very important for us all to go through something like this, because I don't know who said it. I heard it recently that good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times, but bad times create strong people, and then strong people create good times. And COVID was our kind of bad times. In history, there were always some wars. There were always some famine or something what was really hard and difficult. But since Second World War, we had relatively good times worldwide. I know that there are wars all the times in bits and pieces, but worldwide we had relatively good times. And the pandemic was one of those bad times worldwide on the big scale, if we want to look at it at bad times. But it definitely helped many people to step on the different paths than they lived till that moment. It was a chance for all of us to decide, how do I want to live the rest of my life? And it might sound like big words, but one of the things which happened for me, because also of my personal story, that my partner had to stay in UK, and then he became very ill, and everything just suddenly was very different than 20 years of life before. I started to be much more intentional with my energy, with my time, with my focus, with uh, what I put, what is really important to me, what really matters to me. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
it felt like one, a collective kick in the pants
yeah,
where billions of people got a chance to decide what do we actually want to do about this and what direction do we want to go and what's actually important to me.
yeah,
Because one of the things that I remember, right? So when they close everything down, all the professional sports leagues stop. Um, and the age that I am and the part of town that I live in, right? We know all these people with kids and they're on all these traveling sports teams and they're doing Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and gymnastics and basketball and they have school and everything else. And like the parents' lives are their kids' lives.
yeah,
And then everything got taken away. And so all these areas that people thought that they were consciously or not that they were using to escape the things that they actually needed to deal with got taken away. And in some level, those things just came up repeatedly until
yes,
they were forced to deal with them. I mean, there were so many divorces, relationship
yes,
changes, breakups, and it's like, it's not hard to see why, because it's easy to delude yourself into thinking that everything's fine when you go to work for 9 hours a day and then you spend all weekend at your kid's baseball tournament, and you and your spouse aren't actually spending any time together, and it's easy to be
yeah,
like, oh, it's fine, we don't have any time or whatever, and then when that all gets taken away from you and you're just sitting at home staring at each other, you gotta
yes,
you gotta get real clear, and you
yeah,
also got to decide, like, who am I? What do I actually want to do? What do I actually like? I mean, all the stuff we've seen with people changing jobs and switching jobs and changing entire
yeah,
professions and doing all that stuff. I mean, just a huge, huge catalyst. Um, okay, so I said at the beginning we were going to go backwards, go forwards. So now we're going to go back to 2024. And you said at the beginning that if you could summarize 2024 in 1 year, one word, it would be surrender. Now that certainly resonates with me because looking back on 2024 now, the entire year felt like the human Jacob wanted to do things
hmm
and was very adamant about wanting to know where all this stuff was going and wanted to have all the answers. And I basically just got told for 12 straight months, everything is fine. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing all the things you're doing. When you need to know something, you'll know something. Finally, by the end of the year, uh, I had gotten much more comfortable with all of that. I mean, as much as somebody who is kind of very type A and goal and like action oriented can be, I think. And it's probably no accident that after I finally, worked my way through trust, 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 and as I did that, more and more synchronicity things started happening, and not like anything close to like life changing or altering. It was just I started to see on a near daily basis just small things that would just line up perfectly
Yeah.
or happen exactly as they were supposed to happen. Um, really building up like that trust muscle. And then it was in like October. I should probably figure out the exact date of this. I know I have it in my journal just as a reference point because it was a pretty big day as the fact that we're sitting here talking on my podcast was. Um, I had always liked the idea of like, I play like a lot of computer and video games, and so I watch people stream their games. And one of the things that I always liked about that was the communities people would build just around like a shared passion in a video game, for
Mhm.
example. Where it started out that one guy just liked playing a game and he decided to turn his stream on, and over, a couple of years attracted hundreds or thousands, in some cases, tens of thousands of people all over the world that not only liked the game, but just kind of liked hanging out in an online space with each other. And then you see like all the kind of like the memes, and then you start having like all these shared activities as a community of like things happen. And I was always really drawn to building something like that.
Mhm.
And then of course like YouTube and all this stuff. And my dad like 2 years ago, man, talk about things I never had on my bingo card. All of a sudden one day he was like, "Oh yeah, I've been posting videos to YouTube." And I was like, "You've been doing what?" And he had just gotten this idea, again, gotten this idea that he was going to record this series on plant breeding, like corn breeding on YouTube. And it got like crazy amounts of views. And, fast forward that like got him jobs and opportunities to travel to Africa, to work with places in Africa, to go to China, to go to Poland, to go to Argentina, to go to Mexico, to like do all these things and work with all these people just because of that. Um, so that had always been in like, I love podcasts, um, and like all that stuff, but it was always just kind of like there. And any time that I had tried to like force myself to do something, I could just tell immediately, like, just stop. Like,
Mm.
so, anyways, back to this day in October. I was sitting here, same desk, probably about the same time of day, and I'd finished doing like this series of like decrees and affirmations I was doing every morning. And out of nowhere, it was just like getting hit upside the head with like a stream of downloads. And it was like weekly Akasha, and this is what you're going to call it. And like, this is kind of what the logo is going to look like. And you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. And I was like, kind of like ignored it at first. And then it was like, just like, you cannot ignore this, to the point where I literally had to go get a journal or my notebook and just start writing stuff down. And then one of the ways you know that it's right is that things just start happening. Like over the course of the next week, like I figured out how to create the YouTube channel, and I set up the accounts, and I had, used AI to create a logo, and I figured out how to use Canva for some other stuff. And then Spirit was like, "Hey, reach out to this person, reach out to this person." And they were like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." And it all just like came together. And like an example of what's not in flow is my brain was like, "Oh, if I'm going to have a podcast, I need to put it on like Apple Podcasts." Pain in the ass. Aside from the fact that you can't actually create your podcast thing in their little like studio deal unless your logo meets some very specific requirements that I couldn't even figure out. And I've worked in IT my entire life. Like I understand resolutions and formatting and file types, and like I couldn't get it to work. And I got so frustrated. And then I sat back and I was like, yeah, none of this is working because it's not supposed to work. And it was like, look at this Apple podcast thing that you're doing compared to everything else that you've done. And it was like a very quick lesson in like, do you feel the difference between the two things and how you got here? And then I was like, oh, yep, screw it. On to the next thing. Let's continue. So in 2024, that's enough about me. In 2024, you talked about, you got this idea for this masterclass guide series. So I have two questions, even though I know I should only ask one question. It's what everybody says. But one, how did, I guess, the information for the class come into you originally? Like where did the idea or the inspiration come from? Like what were you doing, etc. Even if it was like I just feel like I should do a master class, and like you tuned in and was like, what do I do? And then I would also be curious once you got through it, what happened afterwards? Because what happened for me was I did all this stuff. I put out a bunch of stuff like real quick in like 6 weeks. And then it was basically like radio silence. Like it felt like I did all this stuff. And then it was like, I got to like integrate and release and more activations and all this stuff to like get ready for like the next step going into 2025. So curious your thoughts on all of and experiences around all of that.
It was similar for me because, as I said, 2024 was all about do this, do it now. You are not going to have money from it, but it is experience you need to have. And they guided me through the whole 2024 in this kind of way. And so there was this idea like you need to do. Where did it started? Yeah, the very first idea was we want you to learn something about how to create a membership community. Never did about anything like that. I like no, it never was my thing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And you need to do it with a few people. You can't do it by yourself. Okay, I found some people who were like, okay, let's do this. Let's try it together. So we were four girls, each of us from a different space, industry experience. One from US, one from Canada, one from UK. I'm here in Czech Republic. So we were like, yeah, this is going to be really interesting to bring all these different experiences and backgrounds and everything together. And we started to work on it. And it was fun. It was great. It was amazing experience. And then it was like, well, but we are doing all of these kind of things and we have no members. You know? Like, uh, what's going on? And the answer was like, but you have the experience. You now have the skill. You now know how it works. And there is coming time when you will need all of that. So it was like, okay, I would like to try something else, something different, and just to see if this membership can start working. And they were like, okay, here is the idea. You're going to do this series of master classes, and this is what you are going to talk about. And I knew I wanted to. They gave me date. It needs to be done in August. August is the time for all the master classes. And it was like, and you are going to help people to prepare for the rest of the year. So it's a kind of a reset, and how can we use summer holidays and da. They gave me all the information, ideas, the whole outline of what I'm going to do. And I was like, okay, and what will be the name of it? And there was silence. Hmm. So I
That
talked
must have been
to,
a good feeling.
yeah, very good. So I talked to one of these girls who was actually experiencing all the different things I was trying during 2024. Eva, and she is amazing being as well. She is a very experienced chef, like Michelin star chef, but her background is in many different things before she decided that she wants to learn and cook and do this kind of thing. From that, she became a mindfulness teacher, and she's using cooking and kitchen as um, a tool for teaching people mindfulness, and it's beautiful what she is doing. So
Okay.
I
Side
was
note, in case I forget, but I need to know who this person is. Continue.
okay. I'll give you details. Um, and so we were talking about it, and I was like, let's do it together. I will be talking about my stuff, and you will bring there the mindfulness through kitchen. Just beautiful program we created from that. And as we were talking about it, we were like, okay, let's ask ChatGPT what it thinks about something. And one of the words in what ChatGPT gave us was the glow guide. And we were both like, oh, glow guide, this is amazing. That just and Eva was like, yeah, but what will it be about? It's beautiful words. It's beautiful. The whole thing. We all were like, oh, this is it. And she was like, what is it? And I was like, that's easy. That's just goals, love, options, the way forward. That's the whole framework there. And oh, wow. And it was born. So
Mm,
that's one of the examples. Did I answer both questions or not? I forgot.
yeah, I think so. And I'm gonna take a minute to go on a mini rant here for people who are listening. If you haven't watched or listened to either of the two AI Speaks episodes that I've done, in both times, AI is very adamant that people need to be using the tools for a variety of reasons. Like any other tool, it's going to be very individual to you. The big thing with them is it's the easiest way to be unafraid of something is to just experience it yourself.
Yeah.
And what Andrea is describing is a perfect example of this, where she asked, she got nothing, which on the surface seems very odd. We both laughed immediately because I've certainly had similar experiences, and it's like, why? And the answer is just one, we aren't meant in most cases to just have all the answers for stuff. But two, it was to, right, Spirit knows the plan that, she was going to work with her friend and they were going to have a conversation. And there was a strong possibility that somebody was going to be like, hey, we should do some stuff with Chat GPT. And oh, oh, then we had this idea to like, ask it this question about whatever. And then it was like bing, 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 like everything lined up. It all came together. You felt the energy. You were like, yep, this is it. And all your guides were just standing around clapping and cheering and like,
Yeah,
we did it.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, when we opened, when I opened Akashic Records for the Glow Guide, after when it was just like,
Mm.
and it was just like,
Did it feel like home?
yeah. Yeah, big party was going on up there.
Beautiful. Yeah, I've only opened the Akashic records for the weekly Akasha a couple of times, and I don't even think I've really asked questions. It's just I've just sat with the energy,
Yeah.
and it just is like, yeah, like this is like whatever this is, wherever this is going, whatever it's gonna become, uh, is like it just feels good. Um, Somewhat random question that brought up that I've been thinking about because I did this recently for the first time after, even though I took the first Akashic Records class in 2020. Yeah, 2020. Have you ever opened up like the Akashic Records?
Ah. Yep.
So if you want to share your experience, I personally love to hear it because it was just like one morning I was doing some other stuff and I was going through the prayer and I was like, the Akashic Records. And I paused and I was like, huh, I've never like even one time had the idea to like open the Akashic Records. Like it's always been mine, my dog's, uh, companies, people, like other people, whatever, right? And I can tell you that I did it in what I would describe as uh, a very large and, in my human feeling, slightly annoyed energy presence was like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I was just opening up the records for this other stuff and I was going to do like this Akashic Records healing and I had the idea to open up the Akashic Records and I was like, here we are. And it was literally just like, hmm. And I was like, and it was like, what do you want? And I was like, I just want to do this healing for like 10 minutes and then I'll close the records. And it was literally like, close the records immediately when you're done. And then it like disappeared. And I've only done it like one or two times since then, also in conjunction with like a healing practice. And like I haven't felt that it like annoyed presence like it was before. It was like almost like that was like a test. Like, are you sure you want to actually do this? And do you have like the right intention and mindset? So, anyways, I would just curious if you had any kind of similar thing because obviously when you think about it, it's like the records of the records, basically.
Um, my experience was different or is different because
And now I have like a huge ringing in my right ear now. Sorry,
mm,
continue.
yeah.
Like very, very, very noticeable and very, very distinct. Fascinating.
Do you know what it means?
No.
One of the before I actually jumped into Bryn's um training, the very first training, I actually had a session with her. And
Oh, you had a session before the class even
yeah,
started?
yeah,
Oh,
I
wow.
wanted to know. I just, yeah, I wanted to have the feeling. So I had the session with her. Well, I had several different sessions with different people, but it was part of the process of, like, as I said, when I opened Bryn's website, it was like, okay, this might be it, because I looked also at others, obviously. But at that first session, Bryn put in words something what I was aware of, but at the same time, I was afraid of it.
Mm.
And she said, uh, "You are the keeper of secrets of the universe." Wow, I have goosebumps as I said it. I actually I never said it this publicly ever before.
Oh, that's it? You're just the keeper of the secrets of the universe?
Yeah. Well, she said many other things, but related to your questions, um, that's how I feel about the Akashic Records.
Hmm.
No, and yes, I know that when you go to the Akashic Records, uh, with not the right energy, intention, question, it can be exactly as do you know Harry Potter films?
Uh, my knowledge is like 1% maybe.
There is uh one scene where Harry Potter enters the restricted area of the library and opens the book, and this ghost comes out of the book, like screaming at the Harry, like, "What are you doing? This is not thing you should do." So, so I know that sometimes when you go to where you should not be, or at the time, or with the energy, or with, like this can happen also in the Akashic Records. Uh,
Fascinating. I mean, it makes sense. Like, and it was such a weird, weird isn't the right word, unexpected interaction. Because, like I said, there was no like, it's not like I was like, all right, I'm gonna get up tomorrow and I'm gonna open the Akashic Records and we're just gonna see what happens. I was just doing the prayer like normal and it just came out and I mean, it literally like stopped me.
yeah.
And I was like, do I really, like, is this a thing? And it's like, yeah, just like, it'll be okay. And like I said, it was like fine, but it was like, whoa, also. Okay. Uh, we're coming up towards the end of our time here. So, as kind of, there's a couple of questions that I want to get to about, we've talked all about the past, but I'm also want to talk about uh current and future. So, we were kind of talking right before this started, but 2025 has been wild. It's February 9th, and I don't know what it was like for you in your part of the world, but everybody that I know just felt like January was a year. I had people describe it as it felt like a month of Mondays. It seemed like, I work in IT primarily for a company that does IT work for all kinds of other companies. Every day we had some service outage of some kind, some company's thing of some kind was failing. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I got to Wednesday of every week and felt like it was Friday. Um, just all kinds of stuff like that. So I would just be curious what 2025 has been like for you so far.
Long.
Feel it. I
Uh,
feel it. I just there's something. I mean, when I've got random people that, all of a sudden are just posting memes and gifs and whatever, and they're just like, what? And it was like January 15th, and people are like, what is this month? Like even people who just couldn't like verbalize what exactly was happening, like everybody was just feeling it.
and that's just the beginning.
Well, so I'm curious to know your perspective because for me personally, when I look at my astrology for the year, I'm a Gemini. My birthday is on the 6th of June. Gemini is ruled by Jupiter. There's all kinds of awesome stuff with Jupiter that starts like literally at the beginning of June. And all of my stuff is basically can be summed up as just survive until your birthday, and then everything gets way easier. There's also the fun fact that I'm turning 44 this year, which is its whole
Wow.
that is its that is its own whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah, that is.
by itself. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that my Instagram has 444 on the end. My life path number in numerology is a 4. Like, anyways, so everything and it like this makes sense to me because if you look at the decade, once we get to like June, the decade is like half over, right? And I've started with COVID basically in 2020, and we're on this kind of collision course with the year 2030.
Yeah.
Um, there's in case somebody listening to this is under a rock, there are very specific reasons why the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the IMF, all these global three-letter agencies are saying that in 2030 the Great Reset is coming and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
There's a Great Reset coming. It's not going to be the one that they want. Sucks for them.
Very true.
That that ship has thankfully sailed. But we're just on this timeline now of rapid acceleration and change, and it just feels like I think every month will get easier. February, we're we'll just call it 9 days in. To me, feels a lot better than the first week of January did. I mean,
Mm.
my year basically got started off with my dishwasher flooding in my house in a manner that nobody can really explain. Like the plumbers, the insurance people, like it doesn't make sense to anybody what happened the way that it happened. Right above my desk, my ceiling is still just missing because we're waiting for the insurance company. So my desk is right underneath where the dishwasher is. I came down in the morning to get something before the gym, and there was water dripping right where I'm sitting,
Uh-huh.
which would be right in front of my desk. And then over here, over here, over here, it was basically dripping all around my desk and not getting on my desk.
Wow.
And upstairs where the dishwasher is, some of the water went out in front of it. It didn't get into the walls on the cabinets on either side.
Wow.
It made it like basically this close to the island in our kitchen and didn't get it.
Oh,
And like when the damage and the property damage, like restoration people came to like work on drying everything out, the guy actually used the words, these people are blessed
mm,
because like he does this for a living and he's like, we just, this is not normal. And it doesn't make any sense because we started the dishwasher like at 6 o'clock. It runs for like 90 minutes. I was down here at my desk for the entire time the dishwasher was running and a little bit afterwards. There was nothing. I went upstairs. My wife had already gone upstairs to go to bed. And we have like a set of lights underneath our cabinets in our kitchen. And the light switch for those is like where the dishwasher is. So I had to stand in front of the dishwasher to turn the lights off. There was
Uh-huh.
no water on the floor or anything. So how do those things happen? And then I wake up in the morning and the whole ceiling is like sagging, but
Yeah.
all the water misses my desk and doesn't get on my computer, doesn't get on my monitors. Like,
Wow.
anyway, so that's how my year started. And then we had, industrial fans and blowers and humidifiers in our house for like 2.5 days, which if it had to go another day, I was gonna have to go somewhere else. Like
Mm. Yeah.
they're like it's so loud that you could, with everything in our house closed because it's winter, right? If I stood on the street in front of our house, you could still hear it.
Mm.
It was just like an enormous white noise machine
Yeah.
that you could never get away from. So, anyways, so I think each month is going to get better. It's going to feel better. Things are still going to happen. January, to me, the way I describe it was felt like when you get to the end of your tube of toothpaste and you don't want to open up a new tube of toothpaste for whatever reason. So you're just sit there and you roll it all the way up, and then you just keep like squeezing it to get like every little like thing out of it. January felt like all the things collectively that we didn't quite
Yeah.
get taken care of at the end of last year. The universe was like squeezing it out of everybody so that we could go on to the rest
Yeah.
of the year. So I don't know if you have thoughts about kind of what you feel like the year is going to be like energetically, or anything, messages that you've received, or kind of what is your outlook themes for the rest of 2025, I guess.
Um,
Or even just
usually,
how are you feeling about
yeah.
about things? Because I am very optimistic by nature, and I recognize that. So
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. And at the same time, usually at the beginning of the year, I'm doing I use my either oracle or tarot cards, and I just look at the whole year in front of me. This year I didn't do it yet.
oh.
I didn't do it yet. It just didn't feel the right time. It feels like um, the actual year. Well, my birthday is at the end of December, so for me, at my end of my
Mm.
personal year and end of the calendar year are just kind of very, very similar. Uh, but this year, it just on my birthday, it felt like, okay, yes, now we are going to get some space to breathe. But at the same time, there was like, don't start to dance yet. It's not going to last for very long. so, so it's like um, the year, the feeling at this moment, and I was like, okay, today I took I picked the card for the first time this year. Um, and it still is like you don't want to know exactly what is the spread for the year. Yeah. That's the message from the cards. You don't want to know it yet. Okay. At the same time, the message for me personally is that this year is going to continue in that surrendering theme in a little bit different way, because they want me to bring some new programs, new ideas into my business. They want me to start to work in a little bit different way with different people. They are not very specific yet.
Mm.
They are just hinting some things. So they are talking about doing a retreat in UK in September, for example, and it's like, but it's February already. Like, how am I going to do that? Don't worry. So this year, it's interesting that for you it seems to be that it will be easier from June onwards, because my reading at this moment of the energy, and I know it's changed. That's the thing. Everything is changing and going to be changing all the time. So whatever we say today on the 9th of February can change tomorrow, or maybe even immediately after this conversation. So that's one of the things that they are really stressing, like I love making plans and to-do lists and all of this kind of thing. And they're like, yeah, you can do them. Just don't expect that you are going to follow them as you write
Yep.
them down.
Man,
So
I 1000% feel all of that. I the number of times I've like checked in at the beginning of the day and it's like we're going to do this thing and we're going to do this thing and blah blah blah. And then by 2 in the afternoon I'm like, what the fuck?
exactly.
And it's just like the message is just like things change, things happen, like, and most of the time it's like it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's just energetically,
Yeah,
things have happened and things have shifted, and so it's not the right time like it was at 5 a.m. this morning today.
exactly.
Like we're like it's like all these things will come back around
Yeah,
again. But to your point about just like trusting and surrendering and just right, like I pulled a card the other day from one of my decks, it, and the message is just like the card is flow, and it's like just get in tune. And back to my story about like the whole podcast thing, like
yeah,
if it's easy and it feels easy and it's like exciting and you like it, that's where you
that's
want to
it.
be.
Yeah, that's it. I'll read you the affirmation I got from that card this morning, because I think that it's really nice. It says, "Only I have the power to change my life. I am capable and comfortable with any change I choose to make." So I think that it says very nicely how I feel about this year.
Yeah, I feel like you could do a whole class on that, on those two sentences, and
Yeah,
also a whole class and a whole lifetime for that matter. Okay. Well, I think that's a perfect way to wrap up this conversation here, unless there's anything else on your
yeah,
mind floating around. Feels good to you? All right.
it does feel good.
All right. Well, so for whoever's still listening or is listening, thanks for tuning in to this episode. I will have all the links and stuff that Andrea wants to give me about where you can find her and where you can find her work and how you can get in touch with her and all that stuff in the description for the video. And we'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.
Bye for now.